You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the opening of the legal year being done with health and safety in mind. Also, we are just 2 weeks away from the local government elections. We have the latest. And a special tribute paid to the life and contribution of Dr. Joneth Edden. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shoshina Wolf-Arcus, and as always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the legal year officially opened today, but there was a break in tradition due to the ongoing COVID-19 challenges, and the ceremony was conducted virtually from the nation's capital. Jamila Mizik has our top story.
The opening of the legal year taking place for the first time without the pageantry of previous years before. A virtual ceremony taking place in the nation's capital at the Supreme Court due to ongoing health concerns caused by the global pandemic. Attorney General Ryan Pinder QC delivering his address remotely, noting that one area that would facilitate the efficiency of the administration of justice would be a renewed focus on the delivery of judgments in a timely fashion.
Too often it is taking more than a year, and in some instances more than 2 years, to receive a judgment. This not only leaves the parties in limbo for an unreasonable period of time, but also could have significant economic consequences to our people, our country, as well as those who seek to invest in our country. There's a legal maxim that says justice delayed is justice denied. This means that cases should be heard without unnecessary delay, as to do otherwise leads to great injustice. I encourage the judiciary to work with all of us to address this issue.
Chief Justice the Honorable Sir Brian Moree touching on this year's theme, the centrality of justice to the way of life in the Bahamas.
It is my firm view that a functioning, efficient, fair, and effective administration of justice, anchored in the rule of law, providing open access to justice, is essential to the establishment, development, and sustainability of a peaceful, civilized, and cohesive society in a democratic country. It is important for members of the public to fully grasp the reality of the centrality of justice to their way of life, and not see the administration of justice as a distant, abstract concept which is best left to lawyers.
Moree says 2021 was a productive year for the courts. However, there is still much more work to be done this year. He says they have automated the process for obtaining court hearing dates, and in most cases, dates are now given within 14 days of receiving request. However, in the Supreme Court, they continue to have difficulties with fixing trial dates within reasonable time periods.
It is time that we address the problem of scheduling conflicts and adjournments. Lawyers who are booked for 18 to 24 months into the future should not assume that this will dictate the pace of the case or the fixing of the trial date. I am aware that constitutional issues are engaged in this discussion, but the court is not impotent in the face of counsel who claim to have no availability for 2 or 3 years. I intend to discuss this matter with members of Bar Council, the Director of Public Prosecutions, and members of the Criminal Bar in an attempt to find a sensible and balanced approach to this problem.
And the Chief Justice says in 2022, they will continue to rely heavily on remote video or Zoom court hearings in the Supreme Court.
It is my view that remote video hearings in the Supreme Court are here to stay and are now a permanent part of the court system and will be used as one of the disposition modes, in addition to in-person hearings, telephone hearings, and applications on the papers.
Now he says he is in discussion with the Attorney General with regard to conducting remote hearings in the Family Islands. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
The Ministry of Finance issuing a statement today on the Special Economic Recovery Zone Order 0 rating on construction services. The ministry says they are aware that some concerns have arisen over the extension of the order in relation to Abaco, the Abaco Keys, Grand Bahama Island, Sweetings Key, Deepwater Key, and Water Key, in particular as it relates to the 0 rating on construction services. According to the statement, VAT and duty exemptions have been extended to December 1st, 2022 for household furniture, furnishings, and appliances, hardware supplies, building materials, electrical fixtures and materials, plumbing fixtures and materials. The Ministry of Finance says it should be noted that the vast majority of persons in the impacted areas in repairing their property will purchase materials and employ labor to effect the repairs, and that with the extension of order, those persons will not be affected because building materials will remain tax-free and VAT is not charged on labor in these circumstances. Now, officials say the removal of the 0 rating on construction services is expected to impact a minority of cases, mostly high-end properties. Meantime, the Ministry of Finance assures that they will continue to process applications for relief under the Special Economic Recovery Zone on a case-by-case basis and consider any application for special consideration on its merit. In other news, as the global pandemic COVID-19 rages on and the country faces the 4th wave, many companies on Grand Bahama have made the decision to allow staff members to work from home or at reduced hours. With 400 employees at the Freeport Container Port and just over 100 at the Freeport Harbor Company, officials have made the decision to ensure that safety during the global pandemic is maintained. Tonight, the Corporate and Government Affairs Director speaks exclusively to our ZNS News team on their efforts to keep their team members safe. The Freeport Container Port and Freeport Harbor companies continue to play a major role in the global maritime industry, and as one of the highest private sector employers on the island, officials at the company say with the global pandemic, the safety of their employees remain paramount. Corporate and Government Affairs Director Sherry Brooks says their team members have the option to work from home where possible in an effort to mitigate the spread.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Freeport Container Port and Freeport Harbor Company have taken precautionary measures in efforts to mitigate the spread and keep our team members safe. As the nation is now experiencing the 4th wave of the virus, our team at both business units are working remotely from home as much as possible. Members of our operations and engineering teams, as well as ship personnel, remain on site to ensure the continuation of our 24-hour operations.
But that's not all. The company has also gone one step further.
In addition, we have hosted several pop-up on-site vaccination drives to offer our employees and their families for a greater level of protection at their convenience. While on property, our team members are reminded and encouraged to follow the health and safety protocols established by the government and reinforced by the company through signage and frequent communications.
Brooks says the staff has taken advantage of the vaccinations as well as the boosters. And proudly, she says the work continues in the same vein of excellence, quality, and high productivity at the 24-hour operational facility.
But even as more people than ever work from home, our team's productivity and efficiency has not been compromised.
Meantime, we have the latest COVID-19 dashboard numbers. 241 cases were recorded yesterday, the majority in New Providence, that's 167, 27 in Grand Bahama, 8 in Abaco, 6 in Eleuthera, 8 in Exuma, 1 in Long Island, 15 in Cat Island, and 1 location pending. Hospitalizations continue to climb, now at 125 cases, 22 of which are in Grand Bahama and 3 in ICU. But there is good news as there has been no deaths in recent time. The death toll holding steady at 717 and 37 deaths still under investigation. Currently, there are 6,132 active cases in the country. Now to local government elections, the aim is to make a difference in their communities, and that is why a number of persons have offered to serve. Tonight, the Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner is giving an update on last week's nomination process and who are vying for service in their community. Within just 2 weeks, a full slate of local government candidates will be elected to represent their elective communities. 102 candidates among the 4 districts. That includes East, West, the city of Freeport, and Sweeting's-Key. Assistant Parliamentary Commissioner Denise Pinder says now that nomination day is over, it is up to the people to come out and vote in these areas.
This Grand Bahama district had a total of 54 candidates nominate in that area. Sweeting's-Key had 8 candidates. In the city of Freeport, there were 24 candidates. Individually by constituency, Central Grand Bahama had 5 candidates nominate. East Grand Bahama had 6, and Marco City had 9, and Pine Ridge had 4.
And here's how the East is shaping up.
It's just as for local government, those constituencies are split into districts. So we call local government elections a polling division elections because on nomination day, particularly in West Grand Bahama and the East Grand Bahama districts, persons were actually nominating per polls. And in some instances, polls were also split by settlements, which is something voters are not normally used to, where we split polls by settlements.
All constituencies on Grand Bahama will be involved in the local government elections. However, there are certain polling divisions where there will be no elections at all.
It's just as for local government, those constituencies are split into districts. So we call local government elections a polling division elections because on nomination day, particularly in West Grand Bahama and the East Grand Bahama districts, persons were actually nominating per polls. And in some instances, polls were also split by settlements, which is something voters are not normally used to, where we split polls by settlements.
Meantime, over on the island of Abaco, Administrator of Central Abaco, Don Roll, says the energy and enthusiasm is building on that northern island as many persons are excited about offering themselves to serve their communities through local government.
So there's an increase in Murphytown and Dunderstown, and there's the same amount of persons vying for those township positions in the other areas. You know, they're high enthusiasm in terms of representing their local communities, and they, you know, some people are vying for these positions to see a change.
Now he gives this breakdown of the Central Abaco district.
In the Murphytown Township, we had 15 persons, and in Dunderstown, we had 13 persons. In Marsh Harbor, we had 7. In Spring City, and we had 4 persons, and they only allowed to have 2 persons in Spring City, so there'll be an election in Spring City. There'll also be an election in Murphytown and Dunderstown. We have 4 persons from Hopetown, 3 persons from Manawaki, and 2 persons were nominated for Gornakey. So there will be an election in Gornakey also, along with Dunderstown, Murphytown, and Spring City. It'll all be played out on January 27 during the election day.
The local government elections will be held on Grand Bahama and throughout the family of islands on January 27th. A much better day. That is how District Superintendent of Education for Grand Bahama, Bimini, and the Keys, Ivan Butler, described the second day for students returning to the online virtual platform. This coming after the first day of school yesterday was filled with challenges to the system and frustrations from those within the educational sector who could not sign on.
We had fewer schools reporting. Many of our schools reported that it was much better day today. And those schools that had a challenge, those teachers used other means to reach their students. So as far as this district is concerned, the majority of our children who attempted to get online, they did get online today. And if they didn't, then teachers use other means to reach those students. So we're very pleased with the work that our teachers are doing. And we just want to continue to encourage our parents to have our students to continue to sign on, because we know it's a challenge ahead, but we want to keep at it.
Certainly good news there. Stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.
Come on down now. Come on down now.
My purse, someone take my bag, someone take my bag. Call the police, someone took my bag. Someone took my bag with my point. I leave the car for 1 quick second and someone take my bag.
Crime prevention should be everyone's business. Therefore, we want to remind you not to leave your bags or valuables visibly seen on the seat of your vehicle unattended. This negligent practice will create an opportunity for a criminal to commit a crime. Please desist from such practices.
This message is brought to you by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, creating safer communities.
Almost everyone will become a pedestrian at some point in time in their lives. Whether we're driving or walking, we all have a shared responsibility in knowing and following the rules of the road. Pedestrians should do their part by following traffic signals, using crosswalks or intersection, or by walking facing oncoming traffic if they must be on the road. And just like drivers should not be distracted, the same rule applies for pedestrians. Let us all do our part in making pedestrian safety a priority. After all, it's about creating safer communities. I am WPC 3428 Bean of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Traffic Division, Grand Bahama.
They try to push rich on me, they want push rich on me. They don't care in front of company.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. The Falcons Boys Club is celebrating 25 years of service on Grand Bahama. The club was formed by Pastor Darren Roll along with Ozzie Simmons and Kirkwood Young as a summer travel basketball group. The Boys Club has since evolved into a full-time mentoring program that has groomed hundreds of young men across the Bahamas. On January 22nd, a celebration will be held at the Champs Community Center at 4 p.m., where young men from the program, both past and present, are expected to be in attendance to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Falcons Boys Club.
For the past 25 years, it has been my distinct privilege, along with Oswald Simmons and Kirkwood Young, who were the founders of this organization, to be able to bring forth an idea to be able to reach young men in our community. Today, the spirit of volunteerism is rampant throughout our society, but one of the areas where we're facing difficulty is mentoring young men. And as a Christian young man, I believe that it is my duty as a called of God to be able to use many of my hours to be able to reach young men. And I want to say this afternoon that I am thankful to Mr. Lionel Morley, who is here, Mr. Nelson Wellborn, who is here, and Mr. Philip Wedderburn in his absence. That we are so grateful that on Saturday mornings we get the opportunity to be able to use the game of basketball to be able to mentor young boys.
It takes a community to raise a child. It takes a community to make sure the community is working well. If the community does not get together and support groups like this, and there's numerous groups around the island, but the Falcons Boys Club and Champs Community Center is very visual. It's easy to see. It's easy to see what they're accomplishing. Come by here on a Saturday morning and you'll see anywhere from 70 to 120 young men out on the basketball courts from the ages of 7, 8 up to 14, 15 years old.
Volunteers Lionel Morley and Nelson Wellborn have been working consistently with young men at the Falcons Boys Club, teaching them family values and strong morals that they hope will help groom the young men into productive citizens.
Some people look at it in passing and just believe, you know, it's just, you just come by and that's what all it is. But it's about not just basketball, it's about the game of life. It's easy to be critical. There's a lot of people that just choose to be critical. But to really put your teeth into it, as Mr. Gunn and Mr. Roll said, and to really develop a personal relationship with these young men, as somebody would have done with us, who's sitting at this table years ago, have invested in us. It requires dedication, commitment, and love.
As of late, you know, Pastor Roll has, I mean, he's basically taken over the boys, you know, and they are with him, they are all in with him, and he cares for them just like everybody else. And so that's just the way the Falcons Boys Club has been. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. It's just about you know, you're helping young people.
Finally in news, a tribute paid to Dr. Joneth Edden, who passed away over the weekend. Members of the Majority Rule Planning Committee remembering Dr. Edden for the role she played in the Majority Rule celebrations over the years. Jamila Mizik has the story.
The Grand Bahama One Bahamas Celebration Committee coming together to pay tribute to the late Dr. Joneth Evans Edden. Churchill Tenor Knoll says he met her while serving on the committee, adding that she made sure to recognize those in Grand Bahama during the celebrations.
But often we think of persons in New Providence, but persons on the island also had made their contribution as far as the majority rule is concerned back in 1967. And Dr. Edden here in Grand Bahama was one to make sure that was done. And I'm sure she would always be associated with the recognition of persons here in Grand Bahama on the Majority Rule Day.
Chairman of the Grand Bahama One Bahamas Celebration Committee, responsible for the Majority Rule celebration on Grand Bahama, Cecil Thompson says Dr. Joneth Evans Edden served as the deputy chairperson of the Majority Rule Committee. He says many persons may not know that she was actually the one responsible for inspiring the celebrations in Grand Bahama.
For 3 years, Grand Bahama had the distinction of being the only island in the entire Commonwealth of the Bahamas that celebrated Majority Rule Day, the public holiday, in such a grand fashion, i.e., having thousands of school kids in a uniform and the school banners, having uniform groups, and all those other groups participated in it. The only island in the Commonwealth. That brought tremendous satisfaction to us on the committee, and nobody was prouder than Dr. Edden.
Thompson says she will always be remembered.
When we celebrate Majority Rule Day, as we go around the schools, etc., 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 I would make sure the whole world knows the lion's share of the credit should never have gone to Cecil Thompson. The lion's share of the credit should have gone to Dr. Edden, but she was always behind the scene.
Thompson sending condolences to the family on behalf of the Grants Bahama One Bahama Celebration Committee. Dr. Joneth Evans Edden died 2 days before the country celebrated its 55th anniversary of majority rule at the age of 56. Jamila Missick, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Jamila. And that's a look at stories making news. It's now time for sports with Jay Philippe.
Good evening, I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to sports after a busy holiday weekend. The NFL regular season is finally done, and now it's time for the playoffs. This year's playoff will be kicking off in Cincinnati, where the Bengals will be hosting Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday afternoon. The nightcap on Saturday will feature the rookie quarterback Mac Jones and the Patriots traveling to Buffalo for their third game this season against the Bills. The Sunday slate will kick off at 1 p.m. with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles traveling to Tampa to take on the defending Super Bowl champs Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The middle game on Sunday will give us a rematch of one of the most storied postseason rivalries in NFL history, with the 49ers headed to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, led by Dak Prescott. The Sunday night wildcard game will feature Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs hosting the Steelers, which could very well be Ben Roethlisberger's last game for Pittsburgh. And the first Monday game will be played January 17th. That will feature the Rams playing host to the Cardinals in what will be the third meeting this year between the two teams. Switching gears now in track and field, Grand Bahamian product Mateo Smith competed this weekend in Louisiana at the LSU track meet. In multiple events, Smith placed first in the long jump and finished second in the triple jump. He was not done just there, as he took part in the 60-meter dash, where you can see him running out of lane 5. Smith got out of the blocks early and also took first place in the sprint event. In college hoops, former Gateway Christian High School basketball star out of Bimini, Brady Lightburn, had a big night for his Kansas City Community College team in an 82-70 win over North Central Missouri College. Lightburn led the team with 28 points, which now pushes his average to 15 points per game this season. His running teammate Joshua Dame scored 3 points and grabbed 3 rebounds in 22 minutes of action. And finally in sports, Buddy Hield and the Sacramento Kings lost in a close one to the Cleveland Cavaliers 109-108 in their last outing to drop to 16-27 on the season. Hield, in his usual role this season, came off the bench to score 19 points in 27 minutes, going 7 of 11 from the field while knocking down 5 of his 8 attempts from the three-point line. And that's a quick check on sports. I'm Jay Philippe. Be blessed.
Third Dimension on Yellow Pine Street introduces its new home improvement center. Step into our brand new, fully stocked showroom for the latest in doors, tiles, housewares, kitchenwares, bathwares, vanities, power tools, electrical, and plumbing supplies. So stop by our showroom to view our full range of products or call the Home Advisor hotline at 602-0935 today. We are your home advisors.
All right. Yes, I just need a radio. Yeah, close.
Wait, it's on. Wait.
Be mindful that criminals are looking for a safe target. We would like to assist you in not becoming a victim of car theft. Do not leave your keys in the ignition of your vehicle unattended. Please ensure that your vehicle is properly locked and secured. In addition, do not park your vehicle in a poorly lit area.
This message is brought to you by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, creating safer communities.
Hello, I am Constable 3399 Alexander Williams of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, Grand Bahama. Did you know that in October 2019, amendments were made to the Road Traffic Act? These amendments included such offenses as driving without having in your possession your insurance certificate, which carries a fine of $200, driving while not having in your possession your driver's license, which carries a fine of $40, driving while using an electronic communication device, which carries a fine of $500, driving while having an open alcoholic beverage, which also carries a fine of $500. Road safety is all of our responsibility. Join us as we work together to create safer communities.
That's what I told her. Bring the winding thing here. This is Rick and Script, so show me emotion. Hey, wind and go down low.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Papa Brown, you are our Facebook friend of the day. As always, we appreciate your support. And that's going to do it for us here in the North. On behalf of our entire ZNS News team, I'm Shoshana Wolf-Farquharson. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, the legal year officially opened. Parliamentarians pay tribute to Sir Sidney Poitier. Hail falls in Cat Island. And yet another Bahamian has his sights set on the NFL. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
This portion of the news is brought to you by BTC's Superfast Extreme Internet Bundle. Make Christmas sparkle. Sign up today.
The 2022 legal year is now officially open. Good evening, I'm Jiminita Swain. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks so much for tuning in. The focus of the new legal year, speeding up the completion of cases and making technology a regular component of the administration of justice. Delivering his final address to the opening of the Supreme Court as Chief Justice today, Sir Brian Morey QC joined Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Senator the Honorable Ryan Pinder QC in detailing plans for specialized courts and more. Here's Keishla Adderley.
COVID-19 has brought on some objectionable variables to everyday life, but the courts managed to overrule many of them with technology. Since last year, 3.2 million pages of court records have been ingested into a digital system, with 4.5 million more to be recorded by July. And Chief Justice Sir Brian Morey QC is anticipating that from here on in-person court appearances will be minimized.
It is my view that remote video hearings in the Supreme Court are here to stay and are now a permanent part of the court system and will be used as one of the disposition modes, in addition to in-person hearings, telephone hearings, and applications on the papers. We will also open Zoom rooms in our court buildings for use by parties and witnesses who do not have access to the requisite technology to participate in video remote hearings.
Speeding up the court system is also high on the docket. The establishment of specialized courts have been given priority, as Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Ryan Pinder QC, points out.
His Lordship and I have begun numerous conversations on this matter and have begun identifying suitable locations in order to establish a juvenile court, a family court, a sexual offenses court, and a commercial court.
The timing of judgments continues to be a sore point. It's something both the judicial and executive are being prompted to improve.
Timelines will be put in place for the delivery of judgments, and I will be saying more about this after I complete my discussions with the judges on this important subject.
We will work with the Ministry of Health, for example, in order to shorten the time frame to obtain pathologist reports. I am advised that it's taking far too long to obtain reports in certain instances, more than a year to produce.
As for the Bahamas Bar Council, their focus on accused persons. Talks with the Ministry of National Security look to create a digital connection between lawyers and incarcerated clients. But also on Bar Association President Khalil Parker's mind, the legal authority of the emergency orders of 2020 and 2021.
The emergency powers regime involves significant and substantive interference with the liberty, lives, and livelihoods of every Bahamian citizen, resident, and visitor throughout its duration. It is therefore essential that a clear account be given of our national response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the decisions made under the emergency powers regime. I therefore call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, establish an independent public inquiry into the Bahamas' pandemic response.
The Family Islands aren't being left out of consideration. The Chief Justice says expect to see technology used to administer and speed up caseloads there in the year ahead. Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.
Well, good news for the country's financial services sector, as the Bahamas can now boast of being compliant in 38 of the 40 Financial Action Task Force recommendations. The FATF is the global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog. During the opening of the legal year, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Senator the Honorable Ryan Pinder QC, said this is one of the highest compliance levels in the region. The Attorney General says the EU advised several countries of a possible blacklist in 2020, and the Bahamas engaged in diplomatic meetings on an ongoing basis. He says the last submission was made by his office in October of 2021.
The Office of the Attorney General followed up with the Director General on October 11th and December 15th of 2021. And on Friday, January 7th of 2022, just last week, the European Commission adopted a new regulation to update the EU AML blacklist, which including the delisting of the Bahamas. It has now been shared with the European Parliament and Council for formal consultation. After such consultation, the regulation will be published in the official journal of the European Union and entered into force 20 days thereafter. I am pleased to announce that the Bahamas has been delisted from the European Union AML blacklist of countries, another achievement that we should collectively be very proud of.
And still talking about the economy, Minister of Finance, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis will headline the 31st Annual Bahamas Business Outlook. Prime Minister Davis will address this year's theme, Beyond Recovery into Growth. Also on the itinerary, the Canadian High Commissioner will speak on relations between both countries, and Central Bank Governor John Rowe will focus on the economic reset. The virtual event will also feature for the first time representatives from 3 Family Island Chambers of Commerce. Exuma, Eleuthera, and Abaco, conference organizers, the Councillors Limited, say they firmly believe that 2022 could prove a pivotal year for revitalization and growth of the economy of the Bahamas. The virtual conference begins 9:30 tomorrow morning. Well, the Bahamas Development Bank strengthening its partnership with the Caribbean Development Bank over the recent holidays. BDB Chairman Senator the Honorable Quinton Lightbourne and his team met with CDB President Dr. Jean Leon, who advised that the Bahamas is in a position to offer regional leadership in finance development, and Bahamian development financial institutions should be more active in sharing its expertise and experience with the Caribbean. The CDB will return to the Bahamas in February to further determine its strategy in developing a comprehensive financing pipeline for projects in the country. Well, in other national news tonight, the House of Assembly resumed for a short session Wednesday morning, where Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis and Minister of Social Services and Urban Development the Honorable O.B. Wolchcombe laid several pieces of legislation, including the Disaster Reconstruction Authority's Special Economic Recovery Zone Relief Order 2022, the Bahamian Dollar Digital Currency Regulations 2021 Appointed Day Notice, the Health Services COVID-19 Prevention and Management Community Spread Amendment Number 2 and 3, Order 2022. Also presented for the public holidays Boxing Day Variation Order 2021 and New Year's Day 2022 Variation 2021. Well, House members also used this morning's brief session to remember the life of Son of the Soil, Oscar-winning actor, director, and activist Sidney Poitier. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis hailed his fellow Cat Islander and the youngest of 9 children as an icon, praising his tenacity that led him to become one of the world's biggest movie stars. Davis says while opening doors for himself, Sir Sidney also made sure there were opportunities for others, and he cherished his Bahamian heritage.
When asked what he would say to young Bahamians, I'm reminded that he responded, all I can say to them is, wherever they go, whatever they do, they must remember that they come from one of the greatest countries in the world. It is always important to honor the legacies of exceptional Bahamian sons and daughters, for this is how we deepen our culture and strengthen our national identity. So Sidney overcame incredible odds to attain global acclaim, and in the process, he inspired the affection and respect of millions. But before the lights of Hollywood, before the honors and accolades, before the praise of presidents, there was Cat Island.
Well, opposition leader Michael Pintard illustrated how Poitier brought worldwide recognition to the Bahamas and became one of the most outstanding ambassadors and cultural icons for the country. He touted Sir Sidney's career beginning in the United States on the verge of the civil rights movement, which positively impacted that country and the Bahamas.
Especially with his debut role in the 1950s movie, No Way Out, in which he played a black doctor opposite a racist character played by his friend Richard Widmark. And later on, the movie Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with renowned American actress Katharine Hepburn, which also confronted the race issue. The hard-hitting No Way Out sent shockwaves through the Bahamian social and political establishment when the political masters of that day refused to allow it to be shown here in the Bahamas. This led to the formation of the Citizens Committee by a number of prominent Bahamians, which not only agitated to have the movie shown, but broadened the campaign for greater social equality and political progress.
Well, still to come, the Works Minister addressing concerns at the country's power provider and the police commissioner commenting on the location of a Haitian fugitive. Those stories and more when we return after the break.
And remember to tune in to the morning edition with LaDawn Davis and Charles Fisher at 7 o'clock weekday mornings. We also have news updates at every hour starting at 2 p.m. You can then watch the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern edition, at 6:30 and the National Report live at 7 p.m. All right here on the ZNS Network.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
A lot has changed over the past 60 years, but at Commonwealth Bank, our mission to build lifelong relationships with our clients remains the same. Our customers are more than just a number. Our customers are our family, and together we create banking solutions that fit your unique needs. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy the best home internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Last year, we couldn't celebrate Christmas as we wanted to. So for this year, we had everything planned. 100,000 watts of lights, 10-foot tall tree, Best table ever. Custom t-shirts, DJ, and we also had Uncle Billy, who forgot the KFC buckets in the car with the keys inside.
Step back.
With KFC Junkanoo buckets, you can enjoy the holiday season this year no matter what. Savor this Christmas with Junkanoo buckets only at KFC Nassau.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
COVID-19 stats remain in the triple digits for the 3rd straight day this week. 241 in total, 133 women and 108 men reported Tuesday, 167 in New Providence, 27 in Grand Bahama, 15 in Cat Island, 8 cases each in Abaco, Exuma, and Andros, 6 cases in Eleuthera, 1 new case in Long Island, and 1 case with the location pending. 29,730 cases across the country, with 6,132 of them active. Hospitalization numbers also on the rise, 126 in total. The breakdown there: 6 individuals detained in the intensive care unit and 119 listed as moderately ill. Princess Margaret Hospital housing the most patients with 80, followed by 23 persons checked into Doctors Hospital and 22 being treated at the Grand Bahama Health Services. 304 persons recovered from the COVID-19 virus on Tuesday. Well, last night's virtual town meeting asked the doctors answered many of the public's questions on the COVID-19 pandemic, with the Omicron variant now one of major concern. One question raised was whether that strain was more milder than others.
It's probably best to say that Omicron is not milder, but it's rather considered less severe. And so if you look at how the virus acts, first of all, there is less of Omicron in the lungs, and it's more likely to attach to the upper airway, say the nose and the throat. And so that is one reason that people could have a less severe spectrum of disease.
Infectious disease specialist Dr. Nakia Forbes addressing why Bahamians feel the Omicron variant is less severe than other variants, although she suggests caution, particularly as hospitalizations increase.
Particularly among unvaccinated persons, Omicron may still be severe. It can still cause respiratory symptoms and people needing to be on high flow oxygen. And that is the experience we're starting to see in many countries. And so I wouldn't call Omicron mild. I would say that it is less severe. However, if you have say more persons getting sick, remember this variant is more contagious than other variants. It's more transmissible. And so if you have double or triple or 4 times the amount of people getting sick, you're still going to end up with an overwhelming wave of patients in the hospitalization system.
And while children under 5 years old are not yet approved for vaccines, health officials are still working to source vaccines for young children. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Delon Brennan tackled the question of the advantage of vaccinating children when that option becomes available.
And you're making sure that we protect them from serious disease. We know that there is a lower level of transmission from people who are vaccinated, but what you're really doing, when you boil it all down, is protecting them from being hospitalized and then hopefully protecting them from, more severe disease and potentially dying from COVID-19.
And while Omicron has not yet been clinically proven to be located here in the Bahamas, Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Philip Swan shared why officials suspect it is present.
I've sent off samples to be tested and are waiting for those samples to come in. Unfortunately, we haven't received them yet. It's been about 3 to 4 weeks since we've actually sent those samples off. But the behavior of the virus is such that we really and strongly believe that it's the Omicron, and that it's causing us to have quick numbers of increasing cases, as well as the illness spectrum so far has been more mild than it has been for the Delta, and which we experienced in the third wave.
Now to labor news. Minister of Works and Utilities, the Honorable Alfred Sayers, says he anticipates a meeting with BPL executives and the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union this week. This as BEW President Kyle Wilson last week continued to voice concerns over long-standing issues he says are not being appropriately addressed. He says those concerns involve health and safety, human resources, and pensions, adding that he's met with the union president on several occasions.
And most recently, I would have met with the TUC, Mr. Obi Ferguson, and the president of the BPL union, amongst others, and discussed their concern. I'm confident that the chairman and the board of BPL will be having more detailed consultations with the union to address the concerns.
The union is also concerned about BPL's new chairman and board.
Well, the chairman has just been appointed and the board has just been appointed, but the Act gives the board the governance responsibility, and the board is familiarizing itself and getting up to speed. And as you know, we have a rapid assessment of BPL and on certain issues being undertaken as we speak. And we should be receiving a report from Deloitte with respect to that rapid assessment.
Well, now to crime news. Police started the day off intensely investigating the circumstances surrounding the country's latest homicide. Police press liaison Superintendent Audley Peters told reporters that authorities learned about a shooting on Knowles Drive, that's off the Tonic Williams-Darling Highway, shortly before 9 o'clock last night.
Officers responded, and on their arrival, they found an adult male lying on the ground outside his residence, unresponsive. A search of the body confirms several wounds consistent with gunshots. Emergency medical services later pronounced the body lifeless. Our initial investigations revealed that the victim was outside his residence when a small vehicle pulled up. Two males exited that vehicle armed with firearms. They then approached the victim and shot him several times about the body. The suspects then returned to their vehicle and fled the scene.
Police are also appealing to the public with any information on this incident to contact them immediately.
I won't fail to reiterate to members of the public who are aware of individuals that are in possession of illegal firearms to report them to the police. As in all matters, crime is everyone's business.
An active investigation into that police-involved shooting of Royal Bahamas Defense Force leading seaman Rodney Adderley continues. While reports have surfaced that Adderley's mental health may be an issue, cognitive behavioral therapist Harrison Thompson made this suggestion.
We can look at other countries like in Sweden and Norway and in Finland where reporting of police shootings and police involved killings are little to nothing. And I think this is just going to show that we need more education. It's not just business as usual anymore. COVID-19, I think, has exposed so many things that in a general sense, we have not been used to dealing with in the forefront. And so that means that our mechanisms of support, our mechanisms of education, and definitely our mechanisms of police need to change with the times.
Meantime, Police Commissioner Paul Roll issuing a tweet on the weekend confirming that Haitian fugitive John Joel Joseph was not arrested by the Royal Bahamas Police Force and is not in their custody. Commissioner Roll's information comes as Haitian police continue to search for the former Haitian senator who is among several persons wanted for last summer's assassination of former Haitian President Jovenel Moïse. According to sources, rumors circulated in Haiti that Joseph was arrested here in the Bahamas after it was reported that another suspect was arrested in the Dominican Republic.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
tourism today. Bahamas tourism today.
The Tourism Today team had an opportunity to embark on a culinary journey with world-renowned chefs at the Rosewood Bahamas, The Kitchen.
Oh, welcome to The Kitchen. So my name is Chef Michael Davis. I'm the chef de cuisine at The Kitchen here, where we do a lot of activities. We have our tiny chefs, we got junior chef, and we also do adults and family culinary. Here at The Kitchen, we learn different cuisines. We infuse Bahamian cuisines with Mediterranean, Asian, Latin, so whatever cuisine that you like to do, we do it at The Kitchen here, where kids get an opportunity to have a lot of fun. Kids get dirty, get their hands dirty down in flour. We got our junior chef, they do cupcake war, where they get to fight at each other and see who has the best cupcakes. And then we have families where they come together, they make pasta, and they come together, little kids, and they come and they gather together and they'll be able to do different cuisines and enjoy it inside on the table. We also have a lot of fun in the kitchen, where we also have activities where we do kitchen buyouts. We allow you to come in the kitchen, do a cooking class with Chef Mike, where you have a lot of fun. I bring my energy, we get to sing some songs, we drink some wine, and we have fun and we boogie down.
Chef Davis also shared with us about Festive at Bahamar.
So here at The Kitchen for Festive, we're introducing something new this year, where we're allowing Ketsu, Ophelia, and Kana to introduce some of their signature dishes in the kitchen, and they'll be featuring some of their signature chefs. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you there.
For more information on The Kitchen, please visit www.bahamar.com. It truly offers a culinary experience like no other. I am Danielle Bodie, and this is Tourism Today.
Say goodbye to the clunky, old, outdated, tiresome way of buying insurance. Get covered in a click with First Online, a new online insurance portal from Bahamas First. It's the simple way to do insurance. Visit bahamasfirst.com to get an instant quote, pay premiums, and manage your claims anytime and from any device. First for our car and home insurance customers. It's another first from Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
When you want to save money on your tile supplies, who you gonna call? The Tile King. When you tile your house and you want to look good, who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Visit the new Tile King showroom, which is internationally recognized as the finest tile showroom in the Caribbean, located in the Builders Mall on Wolf Road.
The Tile King. Who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Tiles on everything.
Health is the greatest gift. That's where we come in. Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies is the premier distributor of medical equipment, as well as medical and surgical consumables. Our engineers are always on hand, providing top care service that saves lives. We carry a wide selection of over-the-counter and prescription items, IV fluids, and other injections. Our products are state-of-the-art, and our entire team stays on top of cutting-edge technology. With more than 2 decades of dedicated service, Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies continues to be a trendsetter and innovator in healthcare. We have set ourselves apart by truly caring for our customers. We understand the intricacies of healthcare, and we produce spectacular results. We cherish our partnerships and nurture our friendships as we continue on our quest to help everyone maintain that wonderful gift of good health. Find us on 9th Fifth Terrace, Centerville, right in the heart of the medical service epicenter of Nassau, Bahamas.
Fixed and mobile services provided by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions helps our customers help their customers adapt to the new way of paying for things. Digital Wallets makes your transactions faster, more convenient, and secure. Whether it's using a debit card at the grocery store or making online payments for your monthly expenses, Digital Wallets powered by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions makes it better. For more information on our fixed and mobile services, contact the experts at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals, and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Thanks for staying with us. The Bahamas Christian Council among corporate entities stepping up to assist the government resolve a complex educational issue. Thousands of students across the country are reportedly absent from the government's virtual school platform and have been so since the start of the pandemic. Yesterday, representatives of the council participated in that education walkabout in the Freetown community to assess the level of assistance needed for students. Carla Palmer is following the story.
According to education officials, as many as 7,000 students across the country are not logging on to the Ministry of Education's virtual learning apparatus. Cognizant that it takes a village to raise a child, officials have enlisted the support of members of the wider community, including the church, in its multi-sectoral approach to addressing the issue. Senior pastor of Family of Faith Ministries International, Ricardo Dean, was among the group representing the Christian Council.
Rightly so, because I believe the church is a vital and significant member of the social order and necessary for us to be involved in whatever is going on in our communities. And clearly this is a major crisis with so many students not being involved in the educational system. And whether it's the present situation or a future fallout, the Christian Council needs to be a part of the solution.
Having participated in the walkabout in the Freetown community to speak with those parents and guardians of absentee students, Pastor Dean described his experience as an eye-opener, a real manifestation of the challenging realities facing residents.
A frustration, I believe, on behalf of many of the parents in particular. I think it's a mixture of some of them not understanding the technology involved, some of them having the dilemma of being between a rock and a hard place because many have to go to work and cannot properly supervise their children. And then there's the matter of the technology. Some of them saying that they don't have devices. Many of them are sharing devices. Many living in situations where either there's no electricity or no Wi-Fi available. It's just breathtaking, you know, it's really sad. And to look in the faces of the children, again, you know, one of the parents speaking, she said, I have to go to work now, I have to go to work now. And, you know, the children are there, and she said she's frustrated. I could almost hear from her, like she's throwing her hands up in the air. And I feel for the children, they're standing there, and I was trying to encourage her. I said, listen, the children need the education, you know, do what you can, we can try to help, etc., etc. And so it's a real dilemma happening right now.
While Area Member of Parliament for Freetown, the Honourable Wayne Munro, is used to putting his hands in his pocket to assist the residents there, he still feels too many parents are still not making a sacrifice to their children's benefit.
We all experience internet issues, and there's no way around that. But internet issues do not last all day, all week, all term, 2 years. So if children have not been on for 2 years, you can't blame BTC, you can't blame cable, you can't blame the Ministry of Education. Get up and get with it and get your children learning. And so parents sometimes have to be creative. As I say, there are a number of children who come to the constituency office, who came to the constituency office when it was a political headquarters, because there are parents who have such a zeal for giving their children opportunities that they will do what it takes. So my parents sacrificed for me to send me to university in the UK. They were not rich. The same way that my parents can sacrifice and be creative, parents today need to do the same. Get with it, access the opportunities that are available to you, sacrifice where sacrifices are necessary, maybe one less beer, maybe one less club outing, maybe one less hair job, nail job, sacrifice to get it done for your children.
Pastor Dean says he has relayed a report of his findings to the leadership of the Christian Council, and they await further critical information from education officials in order to proceed.
I think that some of the holdback in terms of involvement prior may have been there's some logistic and legal situations that need to be sorted through, and we need to know how to circumvent that or get around it to make sure that we don't cross-step. We're everywhere, you know, we're everywhere in every community, and the students of which they speak are in our communities. And I think that we could provide facilities and perhaps even some of the supervision that's so sadly missing. You know, we have churches sitting there, some of them empty facilities, and they're crying out for supervision. But I think there needs to be that program and process through which we can join hands together to make this thing work.
As he recommits the efforts of the Bahamas Christian Council, Pastor Dean is calling on the wider community to assist. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
Bahamian farmers being given the opportunity to chart their course and formulate much-needed changes in the agriculture sector. The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, and the Bahamas Agricultural and Industrial Corporation invites farmers to participate in a virtual town hall meeting this coming Monday afternoon. BAMSI Executive Chairman Terrell Young believes the virtual meeting of top-level farmers will reset the industry.
This is the start of the new year, and it's very early on in the year, so it's time for us now to get our ducks in a row per se. Whereas we get the feedback from the farmers, we come together and we formulate a comprehensive plan moving forward for this industry. To meet the goal, basically, of food security for the Bahamas. So we need to hear from the farmers. They're the ones who are going to be doing the work. They're the ones who we need to hear from in order for us to make a comprehensive plan in order to take this industry to the next level where it needs to be for some sort of level of food security here in the Bahamas. And the COVID-19 has really shown us how important at this time it is to ensure this industry grows to where it needs to be.
And here's how the meeting will be structured.
We have the farmers, they'll be meeting at a central location on most of the islands, just to make it a bit easier for, access for them, because, you know, we have a lot of elderly farmers who are not so savvy with the technical aspect of Zoom and the other platforms. So what we did was we're going to be hosting some of the meetings at the local offices, administrative offices. So those are some of the locations that we'll be having also at the parking houses. So the meeting will be hosted on some of the family islands there, and then we also have it whereas if you want to stay home, if you're out in the field, or if you just don't care to be around the crowds or whatever have you, we have it where you can also access the link remotely and you can join as well.
Are you among the many residents who use natural or herbal medicine to cure a sickness? Well, a local herbalist shared some tips with our Desmond Sanders.
Well, let's just go back to the old landmarks. Just having some Cersei.
McKinney believes the best defense against common illnesses is Mother Nature. Deploying time-tested, old-fashioned herbal remedies helps to boost your immune system, saving your life.
Just a teaspoon of honey with some onions steeped in there, and then you pour the onions off and get a teaspoon of that. That can take care of the cold and flu. Or just some lemons and limes and garlic and some ginger. You blend those together. When you talk about a cold and flu balm, this is one of the #1 remedies for a cold and flu.
Immune-boosting onions, also effective at starving off those unwanted illnesses.
But you take the onion and you put it in a sock and put it on your chest. And then you can take a piece of onion and put it to the bottom of your sock and go to sleep at night. Don't worry about the fumes and the smells, not the fume, but the smell. This will help to draw out any inflammation and cold and congestion. Powerful stuff. You take that cayenne pepper, the 90,000 heat unit cayenne pepper, and you add that to your lemon and honey and garlic blend. Let me tell you, it will do away with all the upper respiratory problems that you may be having.
Exercise and proper nutrition are added benefits.
Get lots of proper nutrition. Exercise, just 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. Now, if you're like me, you like to walk, you may be walking all over Nassau, but, you know, otherwise, then you have water. Some of us don't drink water for 2-3 days. I don't understand how we can go around without that water. Got lots of sunlight. We have lots of that in the Bahamas. We have more than we need, right? And, of course, we need fresh air, rest. Some of us are on 2 and 3 jobs because COVID has made it more difficult for us to survive.
Consulting your physician before beginning any exercise or diet program is important. Cheers to your health.
And as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all of our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
Savings all year long are at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Soy's mayonnaise, 30 ounce, $3.99. Rainbow spaghetti and meatballs, 15 ounce, 2 for $1.50. Kraft macaroni and cheese, 7 ounce, 99 cents. Boneless chicken breast, $2.99 per pound. Sweet navel oranges, 4 pounds, $4.99. Shop Super Value and Quality Supermarkets and redeem your quality stamps at Bed Bath & Home.
Almost every journey starts with your car. We spend most of the early stages of our lives anticipating getting our first set of wheels. When that moment finally comes, let AID be there for all your auto needs. Make it yours by accessorizing, maintaining, and repairing your car with AID. Whether you're a professional mechanic, a recent graduate, a full-time mom, or an I can fix that kind of guy. Or if you're completely clueless about what your car needs, AID will assist in providing a large variety of auto parts, a diagnostic center, and great customer service. For all life's auto journeys, we're here. AID, all you really need and more.
1/3 of all traffic fatalities occur as a result of excessive speed. In the inner city, residential areas, and high pedestrian traffic areas, the speed limit ranges from 15 to 25 miles per hour. On the outskirts of the island, especially where a sign is not posted, the speed limit 30 miles per hour. The maximum speed limit is 45 miles per hour. On behalf of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, please slow down.
Another great year of savings has begun at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Mahatma parboiled and long grain rice, 5 pounds, $3.89. Olivia vegetable oil, 48 ounce, $4.99. Boneless chuck steak or roast, $6.99 per pound. Libby's whole kernel corn, 15 ounce, $1.29. Sweet mangoes, 2 for $3. Shop Super Value and Quality Supermarkets and redeem your quality stamps at Bed Bath & Home.
Look, I don't know who Shawnee think I am, all right? I only win 2 BAISS championships. I deal with connectivity.
Alive. What do we got?
Well, we are 100% Bahamian owned, and we inspired all Bahamians to believe in best. And we delivered on revolutionizing telecommunications in the Bahamas. Not to mention, our network works in the good days and the bad.
Thank you. But I need you to go faster. Be better.
Value-added tax and duty exemptions of the Special Economic Recovery Zone have been extended to December 31st. The Ministry of Finance announcing in a release today that the move comes amidst concerns of the zero rating on construction services of the Special Economic Recovery Zone extension order for Abaco and its keys, Grand Bahama, Sweetings, Deepwater, and Water Keys. The exemptions have been allocated for household furniture, furnishings and appliances, hardware supplies, building materials, electrical fixtures and materials, plumbing fixtures and materials. The SIRS order extension will not affect persons repairing their property because building materials will remain tax-free and VAT is not being charged on labor in these instances or rather circumstances. The removal of the zero rating on construction services is expected to impact a minority of cases, mostly high-end properties. The Ministry of Finance will continue to process applications for relief under the SIRS order on a case-by-case basis and consider any application for special consideration on its merits. While Eleuthero's famed glass window bridge is often an area of concern when weather conditions change there, and it's even more prominent this week with the current cold front. Officer in charge of the Eleuthero District, Superintendent Shanton Knowles, has this warning.
Yes, the glass windows bridge in North Eleuthero is currently open. However, we are experiencing some windy conditions and salt spray in that area. And so we're asking motorists who are traveling within the area of the glass windows bridge to drive with extreme caution and care as visibility may be low. We will continue to monitor the conditions around the bridge, along with a team from the Ministry of Works, and should there be a need to close the bridge for safety reasons, we will give notice to the public. And so again, I ask the motorists who are traveling in the area of the Glass Windows Bridge to please drive with extreme caution and care.
Something out of the ordinary. That's how Nigel Roll of Orange Creek, Cat Island describes the scene of hail descending to the island sometime after 8 o'clock last night. He sent us this video on your screen while he was actually at a restaurant in nearby Arthurstown, and that's when the severe weather began to fall.
A few minutes after that, rain came down, and everybody just ran back inside their houses, and we went back into the restaurant, and all of a sudden we heard pop, pop, like somebody was throwing stones. So we ran back out and see what was going on. Then we realized there were ice just pounding onto the patio and into the road, just battling onto the building last night. It was an experience for me for the first time, yes. Well, it was very cold, but it was melting very fast. It wasn't the whole island because, like I said, I was in Arthurstown, which is the settlement just above Orange Creek where I live. So I called my dad and I asked him if they heard what was going on, and then he said no. Then he told my next brother to come inside and look, but there was no hail on the side of the island, not in Orange Creek.
It's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Jiminita.
So let's talk about that hail in Cat Island overnight. Explain to our viewers how that happened, and is it a normal occurrence for the Bahamas to experience hail?
Well, Jiminita, it's not a very frequent occurrence, but we have had several occurrences over the decades. I can recall back in 1978, up in the extreme northwest Bahamas, Grand Bahama experienced a hailstorm. Also, Andros, and here in the capital, we had a couple occasions where we had hail falling here in the province, and now just last night, Cat Island was added to that list. Now, how do we get these hailstorms developing? We need a couple of things. First of all, you have to have a lifting mechanism. It could either come by way of convection, resulting from differential heating of the Earth's surface, or it can come by two different air masses coming together, cold and warm air mass. And last evening, that is exactly what happened. The latter took place. We had a cold front that moved through the area, and that resulted in the warm air being lifted. And once it goes past the freezing level, these water droplets can form into ice particles and continue to grow at the expense of other water droplets. And when they become too heavy to be supported by these updrafts within the thunderstorm clouds, they fall out of the cloud. And most importantly, the ambient temperature last evening was conducive enough to allow these ice particles to reach the Earth's surface, and hence Cat Island had their first experience of hail. And right now, outside of our studios, we are under mostly cloudy skies with a temperature of 72 degrees, relative humidity at 73%, easterly winds at 10 miles per hour. The barometric pressure, 1,019.8 millibars, that's 30.05 inches, and the pressure is steady. Temperatures around the islands this evening are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 66 degrees already in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Grand Turkey at 66. Marsh Harbor, Abaco at 70 degrees, and that will change shortly. 70 also in the Berry Islands, 71 in Allenstown. Bimini, 71 in Harbor Island as well. Rock Sound, Eleuthera, 72 degrees, 71 in Fresh Creek, Central Andros. Arthurstown, Cat Island, you have a temperature of 74. Also San Salvador, Rum Key, and Georgetown. Exuma reporting 74s. 73 in Ragged Island, Cloudstown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Megwana, 76. Ackland, 76. Matthew Town, Nago also at 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 77 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Setter. For all areas tonight, easterly winds 12 to 18 knots, wave heights down 3 to 6 feet. Low tide takes place at 10:01 tonight. And then tomorrow, for all areas, the winds are going to fall off light and variable briefly, with flat seas 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. Low tide takes place at 11:03 in the morning, with the high tide at 4:42 in the afternoon. And then on Friday, in the northwest and central islands, we have a westerly flow as another cold front will be pushing through the area, winds increasing 15 to 25 knots with very rough sea conditions at 5 to 8 feet over the ocean. High tide on Friday will take place at 11:22 in the morning with the low tide at 5:51 in the afternoon. Now for the southeast bombers, southwest winds 12 to 18 knots and the wave heights 3 to 6 feet with caution flags in place. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. That's going to do it for your international temperatures brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned. The extended weather forecast is still ahead.
Best rate, no delays. Best rate, no delays.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy the best home internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment.
Best rate, no delays. Best rate, no delays.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
Fixed and mobile services provided by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions helps our customers help their customers adapt to the new way of paying for things. Digital wallets makes your transactions faster, more convenient, and secure. Whether it's using a debit card at the grocery store or making online payments for your monthly expenses, digital wallets powered by Cable Bahamas Business Solutions makes it better. For more information on our fixed and mobile services, contact the experts at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
This portion of the news brought to you by Genuine Care, keeping you home while you're away. This is ZNS Total Sports.
Welcome to sports, everyone. After he completed his collegiate eligibility, Rondre Knowles-Tanner now has his sights set on the National Football League. That journey began in earnest with a showcase of some of the best prospects from the Football Championship subdivision. The 6'1", 305-pound defensive tackle finished with 2.5 sacks at the FCS National Bowl in Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, the National Bowl is the showcase for the top FCS talent. Knowles-Tanner played his final season for the University of Virginia Wise Cavaliers as a nose tackle in a 3-4 scheme. We recently caught up with the defensive lineman on the experience.
The FCS Bowl. So the FCS Bowl is where they hand select guys from a smaller school, but they usually only pick D1 dude. They don't pick very many Division II fellas. I was probably like one of maybe 7, 8 guys that were Division II. There, the rest was Division I, and so they bring you out to Florida. And basically, you get a lot of exposure. I got to meet scouts from almost 20 different teams. You had everybody from the Packers down to the Dolphins. I know a bunch of Dolphins fans out in the Bahamas, but they just help you prepare for that next step, if that makes sense. And there you get to meet, like I said, prospective agents that might want to work with you. You get to network a little bit, a couple of practices, and obviously the game.
With fellow Grand Bahamian and close friend Mike Schron drafted last year into the league by the Indianapolis Colts, Knowles-Tanner says he hopes to follow a similar path.
Started out training when we was in the back of Georgia, so we was just training, not knowing where we was going or how we was going, how everything was going to play out. And his dad every day he would tell us, y'all going to play in the NFL one day. And I think him kind of telling us that, it ain't really kind of come as no shock to see what we've been doing, because we already had in the back of our mind from when we was 14, 15 that we're going to play in the NFL. So I couldn't say like, I don't know how to order. I don't want it to sound too bad, but like, I wasn't surprised he made it. And I don't think nobody else in my corner is surprised that I have a shot to make it out of it, because that's all we've been talking about since I was a kid.
Now, as for which NFL player he compares himself to the most.
Teammates call me Aaron Donald all the time because they see like I try to mimic the exact moves he does. And I'll say it's actually kind of crazy. And that's the same thing one of my agents told me. And it was like, he was talking about it. So if you study a player long enough, you start to become that player, honestly. And obviously, I'm not a Hall of Fame yet because that dude's a first ballot Hall of Fame. But like, I try to model my game after that dude because he's my size, and I'm not gonna go watch some dude that's 6'5", 330 do things. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. But I could watch somebody who's 6'1", 295, 285, and try to mimic that. So.
Well, yesterday we spoke to Lamar University coach Mikal McLean about his new role. Today we get his thoughts on the state of Bahamian basketball.
Bahamas basketball is at its peak right now in the past 5 to 10 years. I think we could always say that, you know, a lot of it has to do with the coaches back home that are doing a lot better job of developing kids. There's also doing a better job of getting kids' name out there early. You know, like I saw on the 10th year senior page, I can't say the kid's name because I'm not allowed to say it versus recruitment, but it was a 6'7" kid that was like 13 or 14 years old that was dunking. And that video went viral on the internet. And now people know about that kid. Like something as small as that is something that wasn't available in years prior that makes recruitment a lot easier, because at the end of the day, if a kid got talent, doesn't matter where they at, coach is going to come and find them.
News from the NBA, Phoenix Suns big man DeAndre Ayton posting 16 points and 9 rebounds last night. The Suns improved to 31-9, matching the franchise's best record through 40 games, knocking off the Toronto Raptors 99-95. All 5 Phoenix Suns starters scored in double figures. Ayton on the season averaging just under 17 points per game to go along with 10 rebounds. Next up for the Suns is a showdown with the Indiana Pacers on Friday. That's been a look at sports. A check on weather when we return.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
2022 is a year of positional manifestation.
My God.
I just said something. A year of positional. Now, I know you may have never heard that before. It means, my brothers and sisters, if you are positioned, you are ready for the manifestation. God is going to reveal himself in the lives of people who know their God.
Sundays at 8:30 a.m. on ZNS TV 13.
Before we send you out in the world, we must make sure that your mission is intact. Yes, Mom! Agent 1, what is a touch? Physical contact, Mom. Agent 2, what is a good touch? Touches that make you feel alright, Mom. Such as? A high five, a handshake, even a kiss, Mom. Good. Now, Agent 3, what is a bad touch? Touches that make you feel not so good, Mom. Like a slap, a kick, a pinch. And most important, if someone touches your private part. And what do we do when someone gives us a bad touch? You tell a trusted adult, Mom. For help, Mom. Tell them, don't do that, Mom. Agent, I see that you understand. Now it's your mission to spread this information. Just remember that good touches are okay. And bad touches are not okay. So, Agent, go spread the word. Yes, Mom.
New year, new time. Watch Conversations with Christ every Sunday at 10 a.m. And I'll tell you why. Because God said 1,000 years is like a day for me. And that's why you could have a thief on the cross pray for just a few seconds and get forever, and get forgiveness, and get eternity. So every single Sunday for 30 minutes, we're going to praise God together. So every Sunday at 10 a.m., Conversations with Christ.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, that frontal boundary which produced the showers and hailstorms last evening over the northwest Bahamas is now over the central Bahamas, moving into the southeast Bahamas. Most of the heavy convection now offshore to the north and east of the Bahamas. But there is some shower activity just along the Florida Keys, and that's associated with a pre-frontal trough, which will eventually work its way towards the south and east. Could bring 1 or 2 overnight showers as well. But there's a second front. This is the frontal system right here approaching the southern United States that will continue to push through, getting into the northwest Bahamas tomorrow afternoon, somewhere around 2, 3 o'clock thereabout. Could bring with it again some showers, but most importantly, it will reinforce the cool, chilly conditions. Tonight, we're looking at mostly cloudy with a shower or 2 later on tonight with a low temperature of 63 degrees. And then tomorrow, it's going to be breezy once again with some morning rains and some thunderstorms just ahead of that frontal boundary. Once the front goes through, we expect some slow clearing of the sky. 75 degrees will be your high temperature tomorrow, and the extended weather forecast is going to be chilly over the next couple of days with daytime temperatures in the mid-70s right into Saturday thereabout before we start getting a slight warming on Sunday. But there's another frontal system that will go through Sunday night, and we'll see those temperatures drop once again back into the mid-70s during the daytime. And those nighttime temperatures are going to be pretty chilly. We're going to have you in the low 60s and some upper 50s as well. Jimmy.
Well, thanks, Basil. That does it for the Bahamas tonight. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.